We found a community volunteer who is willing to step up, unpaid, neutral, to use his expertise in helping us talk about this issue tonight. Chris Keating, thank you for being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
How you guys doing today? I wanted to, my name's Chris Keating. I wanted to thank you guys all for coming out, taking your time out tonight. I think it's really important in a small community like this for us to do stuff like this, have a chance to talk about things that are important to us, and I think that's what we want to do today. Just have a nice, friendly conversation about this. The question that we're really talking about here, and I want to try to summarize it in a nutshell, is should commercial flights be allowed into the Telluride Regional Airport up to a curfew of 10 p.m. is really, I think, what we're talking about.
It's not, if you read the document from the TRAA, it's all flights, it's not only commercial.
Okay.
That's an important issue, it's all flights.
I think it's an important issue that we need to figure out. But should flights, and if you want to say it's all flights or you want to say it's commercial flights, we can have that discussion. But the question is, really, should they be allowed up to a curfew at 10 p.m. as opposed, if you don't know, and probably you guys probably know, but it's dawn till dusk at this point in time. So I just want to see where we are in this room. How many of you favor commercial flights, how many oppose, and how many are neutral? So raise your hand. I'm not raising my hand because I favor this, allowing commercial flights to 10. I'm just giving you an example. Raise your hand if you favor it. Okay, we have one, two favor. How many oppose? Raise your hand. Okay, so that's the majority of room, just for those of you taking notes. It's the majority of room opposed. How many are neutral? Okay. I'm neutral. Or you don't know, or you're undecided, that kind of thing. All right, so we've got the majority of the room who are opposed. So for that reason, I want to start with those who favor it. And again, I want to ask this question: what are the best reasons to have these flights, commercial flights, or what is your name?
Harvey.
Harvey, as Harvey said, maybe all flights into the Telluride Regional Airport until a 10 p.m. curfew. What are good reasons to do that? And you can, even if you're opposed to it, maybe you can think of some good reasons to do that. Yeah. So go ahead.
My name is Marilyn Siegel. I think it's important to clarify. My understanding is that you can't allow just commercial flights. If you open this up, it has to be commercial and general aviation. Is that right or wrong?
It's first paragraph of
Am I correct or not?
You are correct.
It's all or
Correct.
nothing.
The FAA won't let you not have parity between all classes of pilots.
Okay. So the question is, and so did you have a reason to?
I think it's important to the discussion that we're not talking about just commercial flights. We're talking about all flights.
Okay. So does anybody have a reason why we should allow these flights in there? You want to give a reason? I mean, you don't even have to be for it or against it or whatever. We're just talking.
Economics.
Economics.
For
And that's
bringing in more tourists or making it more convenient for them to get to Telluride.
okay. So tourism is one. Convenience. Is that another one you think? Is that two? Yeah, I think convenience. All right, now we're rolling. Those are good.
The reason stated at a meeting this morning by the mayor of Mountain Village that was pro night flights is that a commercial airline could bring an airplane in here late in the evening. It would stay overnight and leave early in the morning, which would afford businessmen the opportunity of taking an early flight out and making earlier connections for the East Coast and even Europe so that they could do business more easily. And he sees it as an economic advantage to increasing people doing their businessmen living here and doing their business on the internet and going to meetings that they have to go to, which would be made easier by having an early morning flight.
So you got commercial flight layovers? That's a good one. All right.
One reason stated by board members at a meeting several months ago was the ability of people with private planes to come in for a weekend.
Okay, so how can you explain how would offering night flights allow them the better opportunity to go in for the weekend, just for us who don't? I don't fly or I don't.
I'm just putting forth an idea that was raised by board members
Okay.
of the airport, and they seem to think that weekend visitors in private planes are desirable. So that's a reason to do it.
Okay. So private planes for a weekend visit. Anybody? Anything else? You scratching your head? Oh, okay.
There are access.
What's your name?
Michael Frey.
Okay.
There are access requirements that come with the accepting FAA dollars.
Okay. Can you explain that? I don't know what that means.
It means you can't restrict the hours of the airport.
Okay. So if you're going to take money
From
from the
the
FAA, and how much do they take? How much money do they take from the FAA? I don't know.
Over 50 million.
$50 million a year?
So if they pay it back, they could just decide not to.
Okay.
If we pay it back.
All right, but you got a reason we should have night flights?
No, but I want to explain what he said. What he said was.
We're going to get to that in a minute. I want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about each one of these items. I do want to finish up. What are the reasons, good reasons to have the night flights, just so we can. Yes.
My name is Pete Wagner. It's kind of
Hey, Pete.
piggybacking off of what you said, but I think that one of the reasons that's stated in the TRA documents is that they're entitled to $1 million a year or something like that if they have a minimum number of employments. And so that appears to be that there's some fear, I think, that they won't get their money. So the night flights will help them.
So you're talking about it, they have to have a certain number of passengers or a certain number of people into the airport
There have to be
in
a
order to
certain
get the
number of
money,
commercial
and if they don't have the
flights.
night flights, they don't want to be able to do that?
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
That's how I understand it.
You go from 1 million to 150,000.
If you don't have, how many? Do you know how many it is? So it's 10,000?
10,000
Can you
flights
put
a
that
year.
on, 10,000 passengers per year, right?
Yeah.
Now, is that
That's in
commercial, or, I mean,
I don't
are those commercial passengers? But there was a question when I attended a meeting that it
No.
could actually not, it wasn't just commercial, and that it was any employment.
Scheduled commercial and charter flights.
Charter.
The officials
Go ahead.
terminate.
I think people,
Part what?
121 and 135 passengers count. For years, the Telluride Airport didn't count 135 charter passengers because they didn't want to go through the trouble. But now they do count them. They did count them this last year. It is 121 is scheduled airlines, 135 is charter. They both count toward the employments, the 10,000.
Okay. That's good to know. Yes.
I think it's also important to understand that the $1 million is capital funds. And if you want to think of reasons why, the airport's going to need capital funds if it does get larger planes to expand the terminal facilities. So perhaps that's important.
So capital funds?
That it's not operating funds. John Macetic at a recent meeting suggested that the airport might go out of business if it didn't get these funds. These are capital funds, these are not operating funds.
Anything else?
My understanding is that Telluride has not met the minimum this last year for employments.
The current report says they did. The
talking about
report they just
2019.
released says they did.
They were also closed for 2 or 3 months.
Okay. So that would go under here, under concern about meeting that 10,000 passenger threshold in order to get the federal funds, right there. Are there any other?
There's one that that was given to me in a conversation I had this weekend with Ed Rufa, and he mentioned that there would be an extended employment hours, so it would provide some jobs, or
Okay.
at least some additional hours for
Jobs,
currently.
okay, jobs. Anything else? Yes.
My name's Shawn Palmer.
Hi.
I suppose maybe it's within some of those, but it would be easier for real estate sales, perhaps? Is that one of the reasons, maybe?
Sure. Real estate sales.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
But so that's kind of a,
It's
is it?
beyond tourism, it's for real estate sales, I think.
So, how do you think that would help real estate sales? I mean, I'm not a realtor
If you
either.
have private plane access, greater private plane access, you might be more likely to get third and fourth home owners, etc.
Okay.
What about just economy? I mean, you have tourism and real estate, but it seems like the bigger picture.
Okay, so you're talking about it's gonna help bring in
Maybe.
more tourists means
More revenue.
more money coming into the Telluride.
Can I ask a
Well-
question?
Yeah,
Since you're working on the pro part of this,
yeah.
can I be clear, was the airport and their representatives, were they invited to be here since it's their proposal?
They were invited.
They were invited.
Are they here? I can't hear.
I don't know them all, so I don't know
Is anybody here?
if anybody is.
I think that's pretty interesting.
All right, so, can we put this back down? I just
Yes.
want to do, I know there's a lot of folks here who said they were opposed to it. Do you guys want to talk about any of these items? Tourism, convenience, these types of things, and try to say why you're opposed to it, even though people have given these reasons to be for it? Jack, your name's Jack?
My name's Jack Thompson, yeah.
Okay.
In terms of the FAA and the access, that's not accurate. The current curfew predates the FAA legislation, or the national legislation, that would require, open access would require the airport to not have a curfew. The curfew that is in place can remain in place. And so that FAA dollars and restriction is not accurate.
I would agree with that if they didn't accept the last $40 million upgrade.
What's the point of that one?
Well, you accepted more dollars in order to create a safer airport.
So they
that it
did,
could
and they
do
expanded the runway.
The letter from
Saying
Mr.
you don't
Bauer,
wanna do that.
the FAA, that was handed out at a previous airport meeting from Mr. Bauer, John Bauer, the head of airports for the Denver Regional, said that, clearly stated, this is from the FAA, that the curfew that is in place can remain in place. And it is not at all contingent on them having received some other dollars at any time.
Okay.